Hey everyone, my name is Kevin, back here with another video for you. This is a topic that sometimes people don't like to talk about, and sometimes people can get a little heated over it, and it's about cables here. Yeah, people love cables. Anyhow, there's lots of stuff on the internet and YouTube and people trying to prove always that they don't make a difference. Then we have people that say they do make a difference. There's people scientifically trying to measure and all this stuff and come up with a measurement that says, hey, there isn't much difference here. It's not going to, in the measurements or the resistance or capacitance and all this stuff. And they say it doesn't make a difference. Well, what they're doing, taking measurements, I don't know if they listen to it with their ears, and that's what we're talking about here. Audio, we listen to with our ears. I guess a little bit of my background in cables. I'll let you know I've probably been tinkering around and messing around with cables for, I would say, probably about 35 years. I did some Pro Audio stuff. I used to make snakes, 32 channel snakes with 8 or 16 returns and solder all by hand and get into all that stuff. Some custom Pro Audio installations and all that. So a lot of stuff would be, doing it all off of rolls and hand soldering, and it would be crawling under stages, crawling, around things where you don't normally want to be. But anyways, so I do have a bit of experience with cables making. I've made a lot of home audio interconnects, XLRs, speaker cables, all kinds of stuff over the years for some of my customers and myself, obviously. I like to play around with them, but dating back before I started really tinkering around with cables, my first experience, I bought some cables for a system that I had. It was kind of the dream system back then. Would have a Bryston 4B NRB and PSB Stratus Golds or Mirage M1s, big speakers, big stuff. If you had that system, you had the thing there. Everybody wanted to have that. But anyways, I brought home some different cables to play around with and borrowed some. I ended up buying this set of speaker cables, cost me $1,000, and heard a huge difference. So anyways, listened to them for a bit, and then they had some more cables there. So I just ended up, borrowing. You could borrow from your local audio store at that time. And I thought, well, hey, let me take the speakers that I have and try bi-wiring, which is what we're talking about today. Is going to get into the topic of bi-wiring. But anyways, I threw these two different type of speaker cables on there, bi-wired, and I was amazed at the difference. And I couldn't believe what I was hearing. So anyways, that's what I want to talk about. That was my first experience. I say I was in my early 20s at that time. And from there, there was a lot of speakers over the years that came with bi-wire terminals, and there still is today. And the common trend now today is basically to have, a lot of speaker manufacturers put two binding posts on there so you can just run one single set of wires. But anyways, putting that aside, I see a lot of people on the internet talking about on YouTube certain cables. I think it was one of them that I seen like this, and this isn't to put anybody down or anything like that. It's just kind of, we're all sharing what we know and what our experiences in audio. I had a set of cables like this, and they were talking about taking this cable, and people were wondering about taking this and bi-wiring it. So the explanation in there, you would take this cable and split it so that you have 4 connectors on the end. So basically you're using this one cable to bi-wire, and then you're going to have four on one end and just 2 on the other. So what you're doing is just taking it, dividing it. Well, doing that, I would say he is correct in some of the videos that I've seen on YouTube. That's not really going to make a whole lot of difference. And in bi-wiring, in that, and taking, for instance, this cable and doing the same thing, splitting all the wires, so you end up with 4 on one end, and then the opposite end you only have 2. So you can bi-wire. Are you going to hear much of a difference? Probably not, right? Really, it's that would be correct in those aspects. But I think me and another audiophile guy were just talking about cables and what the benefits were. So I thought I would just share that with you. what I found, and to be a huge improvement, is, for instance, say you take a set of these cables here and you're going to use those on a set of speaker that has 4 binding posts. Well, you're going to take these, put these on your amplifier and run them to your say low frequency, or what, say maybe this does bass a little better. Use that, and then you're going to use a second set off your same amplifier, and you're going to run these to, say, your high frequency, or if it's high and your mids mixed together, your second set of binding posts. Either or, you could switch them around and see. So basically what you're doing there is you're taking your positive and positive to your amplifier and taking your negative and negative to your amplifier on the same, say, the left channel, and then you're taking your other sets that are, you know, on the other end, and you're going to go to your low frequency, and then you're going to go to your high frequency. So that way you're using this cable to bi-wire to go to your high frequency, and this cable to your low frequency. So why we're talking about that is because doing it this way, you get to pick and choose different cables to you know, to achieve a sound, because all cables sound different. So this way here, you can try a certain type of cable on your low frequencies and a different type of cable on your high frequencies, or mix match. You know, you could reverse them, and sometimes just because it's a larger format cable doesn't mean all the time that it's going to sound better on your low frequencies. It all differs. So that's just something that over the years I've kind of played around with, and achieved great sound. And you know, you can put a set of cables on there and you know, change them up a little bit and do a different bi-wire configuration, and you're like, wow, I like these ones on the highs and I really like these ones on the low, or vice versa, you like these ones, you know, reverse the other way. So there's a lot of different options when you can do that. So when you just have 2 binding posts, that is not an option. And the other option is when you have 4 binding posts. Obviously, a lot of people will buy their jumpers and put them in between to jump the high frequency and the low frequency, or woofer and tweeters together. And that is, you know, an option you can do, but you're still stuck with those jumpers, and it's always good to upgrade and have good ones instead of just, you know, the little cheap metal gold plated ones that come with it. If you can upgrade those, do it. But if you ever want to play around with bi-wiring, give it a shot. If you got some cable, or buddies of yours have cables lying around, and play around with them. Well, there's one other thing too, that a lot of times when you're hooking up to the amplifier, you can't stick 2 bananas in a you know, negative and 2 bananas in a positive. So usually when you have to do this, you either have to have spade adapters on one set of cables, or if you have cables with spades, you could sometimes piggyback 2 spades together on a post and shove it in the terminal, or you can do a spade and a banana plug in the end. So you can put, you know, a spade in the end, or a spade in your post, and then a banana on the end. So there's different ways to do it. So sometimes it's handy to have spade terminated speaker cables and bananas. This way it's a little bit versatile. So that's my thoughts on bi-wiring and what I've done in the past. So if you're, you know, watching this video and you think, hey, I'd like to try that, don't be afraid to try out a different cables, mix matching of, just remember that you got to hook it up properly. So you got to know what you're doing. Have a little diagram there that I showed, that the way it's supposed to be hooked up. So anyways, that's my take on bi-wiring. And bi-amping is a whole different thing that requires another amplifier, another channel. So this is just strictly bi-wiring with one amplifier, or one integrated, or however, just one amplifier by itself. All right then, I'd just like to say God bless to everybody, and have an amazing week, and stay tuned for my next videos. And if you want to hit the subscribe down, and you'll get my videos, and or even hit the like button. All right, take her easy, everybody.